Hello, 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 all you lovely mayoral types. My name is Josh, and welcome to another episode of Dead Men Streaming. And in case you wonder why I have this stream name, this channel name, that, I write fantasy. I write fantasy horror. My main series is the Saga of the Dead Man Walking. My secondary series, the first book in it is called Necromancer's Bullet, and that's why. All right, uh, and Dead Men Telling Tales, personal brand. So now that that's more information than you really cared about, let's come back to lovely Imini Bay. All right, so I did some things while I was offline. Please don't shoot me. And I did them offline because I hate them, and it always takes more time than I thought. And what I did was I went ahead and connected our subway yard up, running it underneath this mini bridge right here, running those two extensions down and up and then over a road and under a bridge and over some water and then up and then over a bridge because a subway should always go over land. That makes perfect sense. But in this case, I really didn't have a choice. It was either excavate under a river or go over top of it. And I figured over top might be a better idea. Then brought it up here in a junction that I really don't like. It's kind of ugly and I might have to fix in a little bit just for my personal satisfaction, and then set up a couple of not my favorite subway systems ever. So let's take a moment, let's take a look. Let me bring this up. So, our first real subway is up here on the north side of the highway system. We're going to call this north side today. I don't know what side it actually is because we are directionally challenged in City Skylines too. My kingdom for a compass. Um, We've got this set up right over here. So this urban sprawl that we're serving right now will be able to connect up to our network. Then we've got another subway junction right over here next to this transit hub. So subway right here, and it's being served by the rail station, by the tram station, and by a bus drop off. So it's got all of these things right next to it. So if you hop on the subway and you want to go anywhere where the subway is, you do have access to some of our other transit lines. That's the kind of thing that to me is very important. You're going to want to have a few, not all of them, but a few of your transit hubs working together. So you've got a bus that goes down to the National Gallery of Art. All right. But if you take a subway system to that bus station to get to the National Gallery of Art, you got that working if the subway doesn't go anywhere near it. So you're allowing yourself to have branches of different modal transportation. By the same token, another subway station over here next to the large bus station that's here in our downtown area. Then I kicked this one over. I really wanted this subway to fit in front of the Technical University, but the way that the lines were coming in and just the distance between point A and point B, I sort of stuck it next to the crematorium. Yeah, I know. Not the greatest, but it'll do. Then this one I stuck over here in the middle of nowhere. This is in front of our telecom building. I didn't realize until after I placed it and placed the lines that this rail station does have a subway interface you can buy. So, oh well. But again, this is close to a bus and a tram and a bus and a tram. I actually added these stops just for added convenience to get through. Now, it doesn't go all the way to the harbor, but realistically, while it's going to be a walk and a half, it shouldn't be the worst thing ever. And we could even make that a little easier by dragging up another pedestrian path up to it. Then, of course, one over here next to this medical university campus because really needs one. Now, I ended the line here, so it's going to start from one, come straight down, and go straight back. I did give myself two branches. We have extra lanes here, and we can upgrade to extra lanes over here or platforms so that we can service this area with a subway connection as well. And then I left this open down here because I want this to connect to our international airport when we buy the tiles for that to come up here. And then just because it was annoying me while I was over here, I went ahead and filled in this corner next to the bus station, dropped in the subway, and for this, I used the modern metro station exclusively. So that's the prop I used. I dropped in a small plaza right beside it. Felt like a good place for it. then a couple of canopy covered corridor parks. I should probably try to finish that with a actual passage or something. And then the Canopy Cafe. Uh, Extra 20 units of outdoor recreation, 3 well-being, and plus 1% attractiveness. Figured it couldn't hurt. Let me do this before I forget. If it's a passage park, you would assume that we can connect somehow into it. Maybe we can, maybe we can't, I don't know. But either way, we can drop an additional pedestrian path cycling behind that. All right, so that's done. Okay, moving on from there. If you watched the end of the stream last time, oh, this was horrible. I had a tram running, and it came on the tram, and I was just sort of like panning back and forth. I wasn't saying anything, had the microphone muted. And as we were going, a tornado touched down and ripped out all of this. It was horrifying. It was terrible. It killed so many people. We ended up with hearses stacked up for a while. I didn't say anything because I was too busy sitting over here sobbing brokenly, just like feeling horrible. Um, Gotta love escape sometimes. Okay, so let's move on from here. We've got some really good news, though. We are making money hand over fist. We're making more than half a mil an hour. We've got 32 million, and I got to take a drink. We got 32 million in the bank, almost 33. Be 33 by the time I finish this statement, which is more than enough money to buy the most expensive buildings in the game and then some. We can easily pick up all of the tourist attractions to drag additional tourists, including all these towers and then all of the landmarks as well for bonus outdoor recreation. And we're going to look at a couple of them today, is kind of the hope. We also want to increase our sprawl. And as soon as it gets a little lighter, we're going to do some other stuff. Now, one of the first things I'm going to go ahead and do is buy this Western Observation Tower. And we're going to stick it over here behind this park next to well, we've got the Ferris wheel. That's kind of an observation tower in and of its own self, isn't it? Let me slip it right here if it'll let me. I think this will give a nice view of the medical university and a good long view of the bay. And we'll just start with that because I do want to place a bunch of new stuff, and that costs next to nothing. I'm going to go ahead and invest in a small thing or two. Let's go ahead and grab an extra park maintenance depot. There's not really a good spot to stick it in over here, so I'm going to aim up here in the corner-ish, behind some of these buildings, edge of the highway maybe. Let's see, we can't go under that right there, can we? No, not unless we want to move and upgrade the highway. I mean, I sort of do, but I sort of don't. Well, I kind of feel like it wouldn't hurt us. I know we've got ample garbage collection and stuff going on right now, but I kind of feel like it wouldn't be the worst idea to go ahead and add some services in this general area. Oh, and speaking of which, speaking of services, I did want to go ahead and add, where is it? City Firehouse over here. Just because this area was showing high fire ability. May have added another building or two. I don't think it was, I know it wasn't anything major. So let's get started with some recycling. We'll go ahead and just use the small recycling center again. I think that'll suit our needs if we can find room for it, because that's not it. Yeah, we can't upgrade that, but it's going to be good for the area. And I partly say that because we do have a trash icon over here, and there's no reason for garbage to be piling up. So I'm assuming we're just kind of slowing down on some of our trash processing. Without looking, I'm just assuming that. All right, so I wanted that, and I wanted to go ahead and invest in a park maintenance depot. We'll go ahead and stick it over here as well. Just stick it on the same road. It's not going to hurt anything. All right, give it a supply storage and extra garages. Then something I should have done literally days ago. Convert, convert. Okay, that'll do. Okay, and I've got to take care of. I don't know if you guys hate the new Android update as much as I do, but I swear it is terrible. Okay, all right, so we've got that in. I can't think of anything else that we really need to add. I mean, we could go ahead and add an extra road maintenance depot. That's never going to hurt anything. Okay. So that's just a small service boost to this end of the city. And that's about the only service boost that I think that we need. So what the fuzz happened over here? Ow. Bad things happened over there. We're going to ignore that and hope that everybody sort of survived. Okay, so let's swing over here. Let's take a look back here because we're going to sort of be bouncing between two different developments today, I'm afraid. And it's not something we have a lot of choice in the matter with. We want this to develop, and I want to do prep work elsewhere. So we got to do what we got to do. All right, and what I'm going to do here, see if I turn, let's turn snapping off. Cross your fingers. Yeah, there we go. Can't upgrade that on that side. That's fine. We'll upgrade at least on one side. Turn snapping back on. Okay, so I'm trying to think of a way that we can use the vanilla tools to really build a good sports park over here as we fill this in with residential and other demand. Um, I want to work on that, but at the same time, I'm kind of going to ignore it. So forgive me if what I do looks a little weird, than usual. I don't sport in real life. I respect the people who do. It's not a thing for me. It's never been a thing for me. And then I've got a bad neck on top of it, so it's even less of a thing for me. All right, let's go ahead and finish up this grid. So we've got this sports complex, and One thing we haven't built in a while is a new college, and some of our colleges have. See, that's all high school, high school, high school. Yeah, our colleges have some upgrades as well that we can use that will imply the existence of a major sporting event. We just have to be careful how we place them. So, to make sure everything's in range. So, if we set this college here, this is going to be a test. This may or may not work. So, we set the college here, and then sports field will line up right over there. So, let's drag out that walking path. I think I broke that walking path. Maybe not. All right, so we're going to drag out that walking path. We're going to come over here. We're going to select our sports field. Fits in just about perfect. Stretches out to meet all that. So now we've got two different arena type buildings set up there. That's great. Okay, this installs an extension wing. And then we've got college dormitory that can slip in. So about the only way we can make the dorm work, though, is if we make some adjustments. Let's turn off. No, except there's always an easier way to do this. So that's going to have to be a little bit off-centered no matter what. Then we'll just delete the end of Hickory Street right here. Oh, it looks like we accidentally broke tram line. Let's get that fixed. Hang tight. Okay, fix that. That was my bad. All right, now after all that, can we fit the dorms back here? Yes, we can. Overlapping power line item. Somebody tell Goofy's kid that his band sucks. I'm so tired of power line at this point. And I know that was almost a heretical statement. I'm sorry. Okay, so now we've got the start of what I feel is a reasonable sports complex. Let's go ahead and see if we can adjust this road a little as well. Okay. And since we did put in a college, let's get our. I think in this case, we will install French style, medium density row housing. Oh, we always install French style. Never mind. Like I'm using that like it's some brand new special thing. Let's do Dutch style medium density row housing. We'll see how this is going to zone in a little bit. But we will have to adjust our zonage right here. Now, I don't want row houses right next to this. I do want to fill in with some additional sports complex material, though. And really, well, this is actually the biggest sports venue of all that we have, isn't it? It's quite huge. Slip in a soccer field and a pair of basketball centers. For good measure, a tennis court. Now, I think that this should make just about any sports enthusiast happy with me. Not sure why those houses are complaining of noise pollution, but they are. Oh, tough luck. And let's look at our medical centers and see if we've got something over here that would fit into a development like this. Wouldn't stick out. Maybe something simple like the modern medical clinic would be a good place. And we'll also come over and drop in a welfare office so that we have something like a sports headquarters, a club something. And to go with that, I do want to come down. That's interesting. I haven't actually built that before. So my interest here is installing a residential complex. You probably could tell. Something that would service the teams, the people coming in and moving in. And that may just have to settle for the UK city apartments for that particular demand. It's about the only thing that I have that fits over here. Let's finish up this roadway. And then we'll go ahead and install it. All right, and then back along this corner, we're going to get a good wall of medium density housing put in. And last but not least, we'll put in something for the kiddos, because it's not fair that all the, the adult kiddos will get their fun. Sharper Adventure Park will do fine. And then a couple of blocks of high density commercial to serve as sort of a barrier, further barrier. This house is actually in the middle of some pollution, so I think I'm going to go ahead and dezone that. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. I take it back. Never mind. I would think that's in the middle of pollution, but it seems the pollution is concentrated right there. Okay, what do I know? What do I know? These guys are more concerned about the noise pollution over here, which is weird to me. Down this strip, I'm going to install just a slew of offices right across from the college, followed by some more medium density Dutch buildings. As soon as I find them again. Seriously, we just used them. Oh, that community college must be generating a ton of noise to have these guys that's upset. Now, I can't really do anything about it, so they're going to have to cope. All right, we've still got ample demand for high density housing, so let's swing down. We haven't really built any southwest high density housing. I'm not really sure how it's going to look. Oh, shoot, screwed that. Well, didn't get it unscrewed in time. Okay, my bad. Sorry, guys. Oh, Joshua. There, fixed. Okay, then I'm just going to grab some low rent housing to fill in the rest of this block. Okay, so we've got a new college, a whole slew of high density buildings coming in. Let's take a quick look at our tram line. Do we have a tram stop there? We do already. Okay. So I don't need to add another one. And we put that, apparently I put that tram spot in a next to perfect location right there. All right, nice. Do we have any, like a bus line or anything going up through here? We actually don't. Where's the closest bus line? Far away and over the hills and under the freeway. Let me add a small bus station up here. It feels like something that would be nice to have next to all this. And we can go ahead and dump it next to the tram line on this side of the road so nobody really has to cross. Aim for side middle of the mall right there. Go ahead and give it all the extensions. Get rid of those two in the back. They don't seem to be needed. Okay, and then Any walkability I can slide in here to make this a little easier to get up to this? Not really, not that I see. I mean, we should connect our road network. All right, well, let's do that with our pedestrian paths. You pay attention to where your mouse goes, guys. All right, then we'll branch this in with some actual roads here in just a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and get a bus line going out of this. There's no sense in having a line without, actually having buses there. Road required, overlapping items. What's overlapping here? Oh, it doesn't like being put on that type of street. Okay. All right, no big. We will slip bus station there, a bus station right there. We have a bus stop on that side, but not this side. Won't let me slip a bus stop in the alley. That's a bummer. But we could slip one right beside the alley. So we'll do that. All right, so what I'm seeing is we start up here. Oh, that's the wrong side of the road. Well. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Coming down here, they'll be coming on this side of the road. 6, 7. Should swing up through the back of that. Hit 8. 9. Ten and into the station. So let's get that going. Sure, I got that right. So 1. Sorta. 2, 3, 4. Doesn't want to go down that alley. But I can force it. Not wanting to add a waypoint right there. Well, if it doesn't, it doesn't. We'll take it. Okay, so that gives us a whole slew of that. Now I'm just going to sort of chill here and let that do what it wants to do for a minute. And we've given this area enough room to chew on for right now, I think. Got our housing developing in. All right. What I will do preemptively is we'll slip in, we'll pause. And coming down near here. Go ahead and install a pair of schools while I think of it. I think that should assist a little bit. And I'm kind of considering adding some low density housing back through here. Definitely want to put it along the river. Try to meet some of our low density demand. But that's a major boost to our skyline right through there. The only part that doesn't have a boost right now is this little bit right here. We'll go ahead and grab some medium density, and then we're going to move over to our next big project. Sneak into kindergarten while I'm at it. Okay, cool. That adds some much needed depth to our downtown area. That really does. I'm really happy with that. The next area to develop will likely be over here. Okay. Actually, our next area to develop is right here. I've been staring at this since we got that installed, and I would like to put in a large building over here. Whether it's Watanabe or Colossal, I'm not really sure. I think I'm going to settle for Colossal. Of course, we could put an office building back here as well. Peony Tower would look really good right there. The Imperial State would as well, but I really need to have an area where I can set up parks and things around that. A lot of these other buildings, they're kind of on the smaller side. Multi-story media, the Incasarium. Skyline Palace is too big. That is going to be a big target for us. Tween Tower, no. Sherman Head Office. Yeah, that's another small building. Offices of a sushi restaurant. That's going to go closer to the edge. So yeah, we're going to slip in the Peony building right over here. A terrible spot for it, right off of a roundabout, but you can hate me later. I want to make sure that we get it exactly lined up the way I want it, though. Speaking of adding depth to our skyline, that goes a long way. What benefits does this confer? Because I didn't even notice. 5% attractiveness, an extra percent office efficiency, and +5 well-being within 2 kilometers. All right. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. Too terrible. And then right over here next to this highway interchange, while we don't need it yet, let's go ahead and drop some commercial. Okay. That will look quite nice. Okay. I do want to check our power grid really fast. We are running out. I knew that was going to happen soon. Saving, because we haven't done that in a while. This is the point where I invest in nuclear power. Straight up. Not going to lie to you. Not going to tell you differently. This is the point where I tell you I'm a big proponent of nuclear power in the real world, and I hope you'll agree with me. Not going to get into that, but hey, it is what it is. So, nuke plants require a butt ton of water and an absolute, usually a fairly large amount of educated people working in them. So, at the same time, we don't want it to be a target of a tsunami or whatever. And man, this death wave over here sucks. Is our health okay over here? We have a hospital. That should be enough. We've got one. Don't know why they kicked me out. We've got one regular and 3 French crematoriums. Maybe we just need another regular crematorium back here. I'm very concerned that it kicked me out. So you guys probably didn't see that, but I got punted to desktop for a second. It was very strange. All right, so let me install it up here. We'll aim for it to be a little bit out of the way. Connect the road afterwards. Okay, so this has got 35 hearses available. Let's save again and see if that helps. Well, I hadn't planned on building a nuke plant today. The honest truth is that our next development is going to eat up a lot of power, and there's no sense in doing it unless we, have enough supply. So as it turns out, I've got this relatively unusable room up here that I was going to turn into a bit of industrial, and still plan on that actually. But not just industrial. The industrial waste processing site is something that I really should have built before now, because it cuts back on industrial pollution citywide by a solid 15%. If we had more investments in industry in this city, I would have built it before now, but we don't, so I haven't. So let's just go ahead and invest in it now. We've got the money. That was only 6.3 million, and I love the fact that we have come so far in this city that I can say that. Now, wait, that is at the back end of our subway system. However, we're not going to have a subway line going up this direction, so hey, it doesn't matter. We're cool. In fact, not only are we cool, I'm going to do something for the sake of doing something. And that is I'm going to take a pedestrian walking path. And we're simply gonna put a wall around it. Yeah. And we'll actually stretch that wall all the way there. Spin out this. Huh, that's weird. Oh, it's because of the wall. Spin out that 2-lane. And in case you're wondering what this has to do with the nuclear power plant, the answer is nothing. It's just a case of where I do want to develop back up here and put the nuke plant back this way. So I'm doing something about it. We've effectively built a wall around our subway system, and that's kind of cool. In fact, let's finish that wall. Yeah, I don't feel that this is out of place in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so good place for the nuke. We could either drop it up here closer to the river, or we could stick it right down over here at the apex of this, you know, this is where this is splitting. And I think I like the idea of sticking it over here where it's splitting a little bit better. So that's coal power plant. I think it's funny. This is a coal power plant and it's freaking huge. This is the nuke and it's barely any bigger. However, it's also not going to fit right there. So that's kind of out. Let's see. Our road connection is there towards the bottom of the screen. That's kind of inconvenient. Would like it pressed up to the back of the river in some way, if at all possible. And I don't want to completely block off access down the rest of that peninsula. So, geology people, if that was the wrong word for that, I apologize. Okay, there works. Now, let's see what we need to do for roadway network connections up here. Yeah, there's no way this doesn't get a 4-lane road. Doesn't like where that connected. Fixed. Okay, now this needs... I'm going to say just to connect over here towards the highway. How close is that to a highway on-ramp? He splits down Primrose, takes a hard right on Sterling, and it's up on Empire Highway. Okay. All right, one way or the other, it's got highway access to it. All right, this is good. Doesn't have trash pickup. And apparently it's got sewage issues. We're pausing because we're not dealing with sewage. I mean, we're dealing with sewage, obviously, but ew. Yeah, putting that down overwhelmed our sewage plant. Which is just a phrase you don't want to hear, you know? It's just, it's one of those things. All right, well, let's start by stretching out this road a little bit. What did that do for our sewage processing? Probably not enough. All right, looks like we're going to have to go hog wild over here. Well, as it just turned out, we just put down a gigantic industrial building that requires a lot of water, huh? It's almost like this is a great place to put a sewage plant. So let's grab our water treatment plant. There's also the smaller Japanese style water treatment plant. Let's see, how much can it do? 400,000 a month, 400,000 a month with upgrades. Let me do the one that has upgrades. So part of that has to connect up to the plant. The other part does not. That is just vexingly weird. Okay, all of that should make a pretty solid difference. Now, we've got the nuke plant, but we don't have power connected to, from, or around it. Let's get on to that. We will definitely want a power transformer over here. All right, we are now producing 1,211 megawatts. And we are spiking up on our electricity trade. That's great. Okay. That'll offset some of our loss. Because now we're down 100,000 an hour. But that's okay. Listen, we are expanding, we are building, we've got a lot of stuff going on. And I've been on for almost an hour already. Time flies when you're having fun. All right, Alexa, stop. I am so sorry if that just offended any of your devices. Okay, I don't even remember what I had that timer set for. I'm sure I'll find out. Okay. So, you can't tell me that a nuclear reactor isn't a landmark building, though. Like, just look at that in the distance. Landmark building. All right, so what have we gotten done so far today in this episode? What is flying up there? Do you guys see that stuck? Oh, it's just an arrow. Okay, that makes sense. An arrow in the air. Um, we installed a college. We installed a sports park over here near our industrial sector. We added a lot more residential of variety of sizes and shapes. So I'm pretty happy about that. Um, I'm so happy about how they zoned in, but okay. These look pretty good, pretty fun, pretty solid. Then we've added a couple of additional schools that I'm sure are already capped out in attendance. One is, one not, surprising. And I went over the subway system that I installed. Then we came over here. We added some industrial buildings to our rail yard and rail park. That will be a little boost. Added additional sewage and connected up our nuclear reactor. So, what else can we do? And we slipped in this little thing too. What else can I do in the next 10-ish minutes? Let me see. Probably what I intended to do to start with. Now, I am terrible at installing the international airport. Every city I've plugged it into, I've had some form of issue with it. It is a very unyieldy building. It takes up a lot of space. It's difficult to manage around, and I don't like it compared to some of the other options that we have. This right here is our flattest section, but this looks better to me in terms of getting our highway connected up to it, and we will want to have our highway connected to it. So I'm going to go ahead out of these remaining 285 tiles that we have, and I'm going to go ahead and just get this whole mess, and I'm going to add those two on top of it. That's going to be a huge bit of tile upkeep for this alone, and about 7.2 million on the expense. Can't really do anything about it. It's a huge building, it takes up a lot of space, and does a lot of things. So let's go ahead and grab it. Oh, and you know what? While I'm over here, snap up at least those as well, for reasons. And those. Yeah, that'll hurt. Okay, we're going to have to maximize the fuzz off of this because that will probably sting. Okay, now let's take a look at the actual airport itself. How bad did that sting? Oh, hasn't adapted yet. So it's a big building, and the road connection is that weird little UVA shape. Okay, it's an A. That little A shape thing right there. Um, I think for looks and for concept, that we'd be very well off dropping it right here. We are going to not just disrespect the terrain, we're going to go tell the terrain to go do something anatomically impossible. Um, and we'll recommend a good plastic surgeon for it to go to try to, make it work. So I'm just going to drop it, and then we'll come up and smooth as much stuff down as has to be smooth, which is going to be everything. We're also going to turn the building off because no. Yeah. Huge. Oh, those divots are huge. Okay. We'll be leaving this much alone for a while, but we will come back and fix it eventually when I buy those tiles. All right. Just want to be careful. I don't want to inadvertently lower this to the edge of that lake. That river, the mouth of that river. And I feel like that's what I was getting ready to do. Take that, topography. Yeah. Eat it, geology. All right, even still, that's a pretty sizable dent that we're going to have to overcome. Just looking at it in terms of this, that's about 20 meters up, which is not good. That's not good. That's not helpful. That's not useful. That's not anything. Okay. Um, and I hate to say it, we're going to have to buy additional tiles on top of that. How? Okay, well, this is going to have to be snapped up. It's in my way. And so is that. I know that corner is going to be in my way. I'm not convinced that that corner is not going to be in my way, too. Okay, so what's going to have to happen here is we're going to be raising this whole highway, putting in a cloverleaf at the end here now. We'll be able to get rid of this crappy little off-ramp that we installed. And I want to say run a highway up, but I think I'm just going to run an 8-lane road up into here, and then we'll start fixing that up. So the good news is this part should not, please slap me, should not take long. If I can't ask my YouTube followers to slap me, who can I ask? Oh, and by the way, today is May the 14th, 2025. So as you're watching this, if you see a lot of different assets that I'm not using right now, it's not because I didn't want to, it's because they didn't exist by the time I was cutting this video. So carefully, just going to delete that whole highway from that concrete bar down, because all of that's going to be lifted. My choice is the 4-lane stack interchange or the cloverleaf. The stack interchange is tempting, but it drops that off way too close to the highway. And unlike the cloverleaf, it doesn't have an elevated side to it. Whereas this will automatically come close to connecting to the bridge. It doesn't actually connect to the bridge? That height doesn't. I assumed it would. Oh, it comes close. Well, let's delete a little bit more of this then. Overlapping items, $5 says we got power lines. No, we do not. What is overlapping them? I don't see anything, but of course my eyes are terrible, so I don't know. Well, let's slip this right about there. This may be a problem, connecting those two back up. But we've still got 10 million in the bank, and we're about to have a lot more. So if we gotta buy, we gotta buy. If I have to go build a bunch of stuff afterwards to boost us up, I'll build a bunch of stuff afterwards to boost us up. That's 3 coming into 3. Okay, that's Bridge highway side reconnected. Then all right, so we're just going to keep this at 10 meters. There's no reason not to. All right. And now just so I can see this, so that is coming up the hill. Once it gets up to the edge of the hill, there's no sense in having it stay at 10 meters. And I missed. I think it's bad when you miss a turnoff. I just completely missed the whole bridge. There we go. We'll have to be inventive running a road up underneath that later, but I can handle being inventive a little bit. All right, that looks kind of terrible, but in this case, function over form. It connected, that's the important part. Okay, we'll go ahead and play. All right, we got the hard part done. And honestly, it's nice to have an actually halfway decent highway right over there. So this gets so complicated. We've got a rail connection right here, and this A-frame that we can't do anything about. Then we've got these two roads sticking out here that we also can't do anything about. So the only thing that I have found that really works is to drag out the train line. And in this case, it's going to be something of a hanging chad as we drag it out over here. And I'm just going to drag it out to there for right now. Normally, I kill myself trying to set up a highway system or something, and I'm not going to this time. I don't have the energy or the interest. I need a guideline right here. Yeah, I need that to run over the road so I can see what I'm doing and get my 90-degree angles. Feels weird to use a 8-lane road as a guide road, but hey, here we are. That's what I have selected, and that's what we're going to do. Okay, 280 meters down. We're going to try to replicate that on this side. Like we did. And we'll have to cross that rail line right there too with this 4-lane road. Like, to me, overall, it's a pretty airport. It's just such an abjectly terrible design plan. I don't know if it matches anything else in the real world. I just. All right. Well, we're almost done for as done as I can get right now. Now, the reason why I'm using an 8-lane right there is because I am just going to take this down here. I'm going to bring it up to 10 meters. Sure we have our height maps on so I can see. Try that again. Curved in a way I didn't like. Gonna upgrade both of those to 4 so that they connect better with this. Squeeze them into there, and then just for convenience and for lane math, slip all of that in right there like that. Well, we do have a problem. That doesn't have sewage connected to it, doesn't have any services because of the fact that we're using a highway here. So we're going to cut a service road. Literally, we're going to use this as a service road. It's going to go up that hill. And then since that interchange is actually in the ground, what I'd like to do, if I can get away with it, That's about 20 meters up, I think. Hey, we can. All right, that's going to be a bridge to nowhere for the moment, but this is too cool to pass up. Okay, we'll come back and revisit this bridge later. This is, again, I think that's too cool to pass up. All right, that should now give nothing because we haven't connected it to the 8 lane. Okay, power, water, all that fun stuff. Let's go ahead and crank this sucker on. And then we're going to wrap up, and then I'm going to go work on writing a book. I will deal with the rail situation tomorrow. No pedestrian access. When does this do cargo? All right, let's shoot over. Look for a handful of airline exits. 1, 2, 3. 4. Cargo, since apparently this is going to let me do cargo for a change. I've never known this to let me do cargo. I have a bunch of existing exits for airplane traffic, so let's use all of them. Did I miss any? Okay. Connected, 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 connected. Missed one in the back. 2 on the side. Connected. Connected. There's that one I missed on the back. And connected. Wow. I did not expect to get that many connections off of that. So, detailing around the airport for me has also always been difficult because for me, this is where I would want a lot of hotels and a lot of special tourism things. And usually every time I've tried something like that, it just doesn't come out right. Height is an issue because I don't like the idea of having a runway, go into a hotel. Um, on the other hand, in this case, we are little hillsidey. We do have some access. We could easily do a diamond interchange right here. We'll run this line under that and have it come down this way. There's a bunch of stuff we can do, and a bunch of stuff we will do, and a bunch of stuff I'm excited to do. Um, like fixing the rail so we can take advantage of the rail network up here as well. This also does have a few things built into it. Um, it's got taxi and bus, but we don't have a bus line running yet. So we don't have a bus station over here. Kind of feel like maybe wouldn't hurt, but I think what I'm going to do is we're just going to make a red line. From A to B. And then we'll actually add a second red line. From Hawthorne Heights to bring this up here as well. Okay, that should improve a few things, make that a little bit more viable. Okay, well, we've done a lot of damage today, and I mean that in a positive way. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Josh. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Dead Men Streaming. I do hope you had fun. Do hope you enjoyed yourselves. I really do love doing this. So I hope you like listening to me talk a lot, because that's a thing that I... Why? That's a thing that I do, and that's something the game did. And if you ever have any questions about anything I'm doing, please don't hesitate to ask now, because these videos are being prepped way, way, way in advance. It will be some time before you get an actual answer, but I will happily answer whatever I can whenever I can. All right, starting right there. So in the meantime, though, if you like what I do, please be sure to give me a like, a follow, subscribe, all those promotional things that I have to say to appease the almighty algorithm and to hopefully be incentivized by YouTube to keep doing what I'm doing. Because if I'm enjoying it and you're enjoying it, maybe some other people enjoy it too. And if they enjoy it, well, who knows what could happen. Can't hurt my career any. All right, I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to tell you guys to have a wonderful day. And I'm also going to tell you that I will see you all again relatively soon. Unless I scream fixing that. Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, okay, whatever. Whatever. How's that look? Does that look feasible? Eh, it's not the oddest thing that's ever been built in City Skylines. I don't think. I mean, I've seen the guys do the fountains of, well, let's just call them fountains of stuff. So, surely this isn't the oddest. Come on. All the way to 0, thank you. We don't want a 12-degree upslope. That's why I hate dealing with tunnels. There you go. How terrible is that going to look? Shadows make it look worse than it actually is. All right. So that gave us a little bit of a bridge right there. We got that. Oh please tell me. Please be positive. Please be positive. Please be. That was rude. That was very, very rude. So, guys, I'm off like a freaking square. All right. Later issues. All right. Speaking of later, later all.